I'm gonna be completely honest with you, okay?
You know nothing
I
about flat
don't.
Earth. Someone hold a gun to your head right now. Earth is flat or a globe. You have 3 seconds. Three,
Oh no.
two,
I
one.
Globe. That's what
Okay.
I would say.
Beautiful. So you should have tons of questions.
I
You should have
will.
tons of questions.
I have a lot of people who've been sending me questions too. Like I've been telling people, "Oh yeah, I'm interviewing a flat earther," and they're like, "Oh heck yes." Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another episode of Trend Chappell Live. Today, we have a very special guest. He is, in short words, a flat earther. And I'm here to educate myself on the topic of the flat earth. Is it globe? Is it flat? Is it triangle? I've heard that one. Uh, David Weiss, how are you?
Trenton, thanks for having me. And flat is not a shape.
Oh,
Flat
you're right. I'm
is a
sorry.
description. It's all right. Flat is a description of level and horizontal. And
Okay.
as we go through this today, now before the show, you and I were talking briefly, and I said, if you had to pick right now, you say globe. You said globe,
Yes.
which is fantastic. We're going to find out why you think it's a globe, and I'm going to give you a little spoiler alert. You have
Okay.
no idea why you think it's a globe. You have none.
Okay. Okay. I want to ask you though, in the flat Earth community, what shape do they think it is? Is it like a circle pancake, triangle, square? What are those characteristics in the flat Earth community?
Well, so when you think of flat Earth, we have all been programmed to think that the Earth is a pancake floating in a heliocentric
Mhm.
globular solar system, or they're all flat, right? Well,
Mhm.
that's mixing two false models. The globe model is false, and a flat pancake model is false. We don't believe that we're a pancake floating in space.
Mhm.
Whenever the mainstream media does any reports on it, they'll always pull this image from the Flat Earth Society, which is a disinformation site. Okay.
Mhm.
So your question is, what shape do we think the Earth is? The way I describe it is the Earth is the basement of the universe. I really don't have a better way to to describe it. It's the foundation of the universe. What's below us, right? Well, the deepest hole ever dug is short of 8 miles. Whether the Earth is a globe or not, they don't know what's below 8 miles, but somehow they know what's at the core 4,000 miles farther.
Mhm.
It's all just made up pseudoscience. So
Yeah.
when you look at the physics of the world, why do we think the Earth is flat? Well, because every sense in our body, every observation, every measurement, every test we do shows that it's flat. Compared to the heliocentric model, I'm going to ask you some questions. I'm
Okay.
expecting you, because you'll probably do as well as I did, to get zero right. Okay.
Okay.
How fast is the Earth spinning in your globe model at the equator?
Oh, I know it's pretty fast because I saw this interview that if the Earth were to stop rotating for like half a second, humanity would just die because we would just
Right. We're
fly
spinning at a
across.
thousand miles an hour. That's faster than the
Okay.
speed of sound. So you ever watch a sunset?
I mean,
Sure.
yeah. Yeah.
So is the sun a light in the sky that's just moving away, getting lower due to perspective? Or are you falling over backwards on a ball faster than the speed of sound, making the sun appear to go down? Don't answer that. The next question is, we're orbiting the sun in an elliptical orbit, speeding up and slowing down, changing our trajectory, turning your angular, your linear speed, um, is acceleration. If you were in a car going 100 miles an hour on a perfectly straight road and you had a dinner plate and you filled it with water, if the car sped up, slowed down, or took the slightest turn, what's going to happen to that water? It's going to slosh all over the place, right?
Yeah.
So we're orbiting 66,000 miles an hour. We're chasing the sun at a 500,000 miles per hour. This sounds crazy, but this is the heliocentric model. Okay, let's
Mhm.
quickly look at those speeds. This is the hypersonic sled track, and if you Google it yourself, you'll hear it with the sound. And this thing's going by at Mach 8.6 times the speed of sound, right? You have to believe that we're orbiting the sun 10 times faster than that. 10 times faster than this. We're chasing the sun, a giant blue water ball with air on the outside adjacent to a vacuum, which is scientifically impossible, is moving in all these directions at once, curving, swirling, corkscrewing 10 times faster than we're orbiting and 100 times faster chasing the sun in another elliptical speeding up and slowing down orbit while we're spinning faster than the speed of sound. This is starting to sound absolutely ridiculous. When we go out into nature, though, what do we see? We see perfectly calm water. Now, let me ask you a question. This lake here, this lake. What's holding this water in this lake?
I would say gravity.
Well, what's stopping it from? Well, there's something holding it down, density, gravity, whatever you want. We'll get into that later. But what's stopping it from going somewhere else, going sideways?
I couldn't tell you.
Well, the land that's surrounding it. A lake is a bigger pond, and a puddle is a smaller pond, right? If you have a puddle, it's water that's accumulated in the basin, and the land is higher than it all the way around, and it contains it, right?
Mm-hmm.
You with me? So yeah. large bodies of water at rest, anything bigger than a gallon of water, lays flat. You can have a drop of water that'll have, surface tension on it, or a teaspoon that'll have a little curvature to it. But give me a swimming pool, a hot tub, a lake, pond, even a puddle. It lays flat, scientifically, testably, measurably, provably flat, no matter how big it is. The oceans lay flat when they're at rest. Okay. I found this on the web. So if water lays flat, they tell us that the earth is 70% water. How much flat water does it take to make a sphere? Okay. Well, but I know what you're thinking. Boats go over the curvature. I've seen the boats disappear from the bottom up. We'll get into that. So getting back to the lake, we're told, a lake, a pond, they all have land that's higher than the surface of the lake. And if you don't believe it, go to a lake, dig a hole on the side of the lake, lower the land, and the water will flow away until it finds its next resting area. So on the globe, they tell us that Antarctica is a continent at the bottom of the ball, and it is the highest land on Earth. Did you know that? The plateau of Antarctica is higher than any other plateau on Earth. Interesting. Interesting. Doesn't prove anything. It's interesting. I always found it interesting. All right. So that's what they tell us Antarctica is. But what if Antarctica was set up like this? What if this was Antarctica? This is all of the oceans of the world. We'll call it our world pond, our world lake, our world puddle. And Antarctica is the shoreline that surrounds our water, and it's consistently higher than our water. Now we have our flat water. It's contained. It has lateral pressure, the side walls, the ice wall. It's not like the Game of Thrones. It's the shoreline of Antarctica. We live in the Antarctic basin. Okay. Now, when you think ice wall, you think game. You'll if you Google ice wall, you'll see this. On the end of flat Earth, the boats going off the edge, water falling off the edge. This is the ice wall. Okay. If you go to Antarctica, the plateau is like 200 feet over your head. This is just the shoreline of our world pond. It's not at the bottom of a ball. It's all around us. Well, what's one way we could prove that? Okay. Well, one way we can prove that the earth is not flat is if we went to Antarctica, bring Antarctica back up here. This is 10 to 13,000 miles in circumference. Well, how about we just take a boat and follow the shoreline all the way around? Okay. Well, the last person to do that, I believe, was Captain Cook. It took him 3.5 years, and he went over 60,000 miles. 60,000 miles. He did it 3 times, I think. 60,000 miles. Well, the equator, the biggest circle on the earth, they tell us is only 24,000 miles. How did he go 60,000 miles? Because as you get lower and lower on the ball, it should be getting small. The circle should be getting smaller and smaller, not bigger and bigger. Okay. So interesting stuff, right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's interesting because, you know, as someone who is taught that Antarctica has always been an island, uh, can you sail around Antarctica?
You can, and it takes 3.5 years. Well, Captain Cook did on a sailboat. An easy way to do it, and they'll never do it, is we get 2 airplanes, right? 2, jumbo jets, whatever. We fly to Antarctica, we refuel them there. We get a whole bunch of people on it. Scientists, me, you, Bill Nye, the lying guy with the bow tie, Neil deGrasse Tyson, the alleged rapist and failed actor. We get all of people from universities and flat Earth believers and deniers. And one plane goes this way, keeping it about 100 feet, 1,000 feet off the ground, where you can see the land out the left window. The other one goes the other way. And like 6 or 7 hours later, they should meet at the other side if it's 10,000 miles. Right? But they can't. It's much bigger. They'd have to go 30 or 40,000 miles. Right? But they'll never let us do that. Okay. So the fact that they're not letting us do it doesn't mean that the earth is flat. It means it's interesting why they're not letting us do it. Okay. People say, what about satellites and all the satellite pictures? There are no satellite pictures. It's just high altitude aircraft and balloons that have photographed all of the earth. Google's done it. And they wrapped it around a sphere in Google Earth. And they tell you that's where you live, when all of our observations, as I'll show you, prove that that's not the case. So Google Antarctica from space, and this is what you get. These are all cartoons. They're all drawings. They're all paintings. They're all CGI. There's no photographs of the center of Antarctica, because there is no center. It's the outer lands, and they don't want us to see it. Right? One way to go to Antarctica would be, because there's no refueling stations there or anything, would be rigid inflatables like blimps and sky ships or whatever you want to call it. But they demonize those with the Hindenburg went up, and they said, well, hydrogen's too dangerous, and then there's a helium shortage. You know why there's a helium shortage?
Why is there a helium shortage?
Because NASA owns all of the helium companies in the world, and NASA uses most of the helium. And NASA is the largest consumer of helium. Why does NASA use a lot of helium? And one of the answers is, besides their rockets, all of their satellites are hanging from balloons. Okay. Satellites originally were hanging from balloons. Then they said they went into rockets and they were falling around a spinning ball flying through space. Now they're going back. So NASA might have a better way to put satellites in orbits with balloons. They're literally switching back now in 2022. But this is what satellites are. They're hanging from balloons. And they're crashing all over Earth, and people are getting photographs of them before they're quickly taken away. Because, how come we don't hear about this? There's tens of thousands of these things up there, right? And people are like, well, I've seen satellites in space. Let me ask you a question. This is 747. Can you see the engine right here?
Yes.
This is a 747 at 5 miles up. Can you see the engine?
No.
What if that 747 was twice the height? Could you see the 747?
No.
Okay. The 747's engine is bigger than most satellites. Satellites are 50 times higher than this. And people think that they're seeing satellites in the sky. They're seeing lights, absolutely. But they're not satellites floating around the Earth. This is a scientific proof, right? Because our eyes have an angular resolution limit. If you held a penny in your hand, you have no problem seeing it, assuming your eyesight's good. Move it, I think it's 120 or 200 yards away. Its angular size, due to perspective, becomes too small for your eye to resolve. The rods and cones and sensors in your eye cannot see a penny at 200 yards away, or whatever the number is, right? Makes sense. It gets too small. You can't see it. Okay. This plane at twice the height is too small. And we think we could see a satellite 50 times farther than that. Absolute and total nonsense. With me? Making some good points, right?
Yeah. I do want to ask you, doesn't the ISS reflect sunlight? That's why you can't see it.
Well, the ISS, that's a really good one. So the International Space Station They have you ever watched it? Have you ever tracked it?
I have not.
Yeah, I have. And they see this bright star literally show up on the horizon, and you see it cross over. It takes 8 minutes to cross the sky, and it's brighter than any star in the sky. How is it reflecting light back to my eye and also someone else's eyes 100 miles away and another 200, 300 miles away, along the same path? How's everyone seeing it at the same time? Because when you are reflecting sunlight, it's only bright when that's reflecting that sunlight directly at you, when the angle is exactly right. And if you look at, the spacewalks, does it ever, when they're in the sunlight, does it look like it's that bright? And again, you have to remember that the International Space Station is not much bigger than a 747, and it's 50 times farther. It's 50 times farther. How the heck are we seeing it? Right? Here's the thing. You probably won't like this. All of NASA, SpaceX, Jeff Bezos, JAXA, RAXA, with all the other space agencies, it's all fake. They're all in it together to make you think that we live on a ball. Why do they want us to think we live on a ball? We'll get to that, but at the end. Okay. Right. So, if we look at, when we look at the space station, where'd it go? We see something. Whoops, where did I go? I'm all over the place. Turn me back on. Here I am. I'm back. Good. This is what we see. But this might be what's happening. This is the neutral buoyancy lab, where they have a full space station in a crystal clear pool, and there's green screens in the pool, and they're always screwing up. When we watch spacewalks and we analyze them carefully, we see bubbles. We see bubbles coming out of and going in all different directions because they're underwater. The spacewalks they show us are underwater, and when you watch stuff that's going on the space station, they constantly have issues. Where's that? Hold on a second. They constantly have different issues. Here's one that was done just recently. This is the Dragon. They're showing a camera. So now look, here's the curve of the Earth, supposedly, and here's the Dragon capsule. And then they show us another angle. Well, here's the curve of the Earth. How come it's sideways? How come it's upright here, perpendicular to the curve, and then we switch to this view, and now it's sideways? Makes no sense. It makes
that is interesting.
Yeah. And then when we look at stuff inside the space station, all sorts of stuff happens. Like this girl did a flip here, and she got tangled out. She's like, whoops. And then they quickly cut away. Now watch again. I think I show it. You can see her harness. Why is she rotating on a pivot point? And right there, do you see that black thing coming out? I thought I zoomed in on it on this one. I don't think I show it on here, but you can see her harness. There's all sorts of screw ups. Here's another one. They're all like floating different angles, but here they've got fruit and stuff sitting on the table. Why is it sitting on the table? Why isn't it floating away? Is it stuck there? Right? Here's one of my favorites. This is what the hell's his name? I'm spacing on his name. Don Pettit. He made a cup out of a plastic, and he was drinking coffee. And watch what happens. Look, the coffee came out of sync because it's CGI. Look at the coffee color came out of sync with the makeshift cup that he made. That just shows you, yeah. And the globe trolls will go, well, cosmic rays, you don't understand, right? Baloney. This is just fakery. Here, Chris Hatfield loves playing his guitar. Whenever he plays his guitar, singing with somebody on Earth, there's no delay. But when they talk to us, there's like a 7-second delay. And his buddy in the other room, other green screen room, is holding the microphone and misplaces where Chris's head is and sticks it in his neck. The microphone is inside of his neck right now. You see that?
Huh. Look at that.
Yeah. So all you need to do is catch them faking space once, And that's enough. But let's catch them for a few more. So these guys with their always need a heavy belt and heavy cargo pants and tucked in shirts in space. Why are your pants going to fall down in zero gravity? But watch what happens. He moves his hand and he reveals the green screen.
Huh.
Once you understand that they're faking everything, then you understand that we didn't go to the moon. Then you understand other things, and then the whole thing unwinds. And then once you understand why they're lying, which we'll get to. Now, these guys were flipping their microphone around like they always do, and they're flipping their hat around. And this guy goes floating by in the background. It was way, way down there. So I zoomed way in on him, and one of the layers is off, and you can see his harness and wire. That's not supposed to be there in that shot. They screwed up. Maybe they didn't think anyone was going to zoom in, right? And then the NASA apologists come back and go, well, they use wires for safety. I'm like, so now watch. In the script, this guy's supposed to hand the guy in the green his hat. And what happens was he moves his hand. They're watching a screen because his hat's not real. It's augmented reality. He thought he just passed him the hat, and he takes it and he puts it away, right? And I'm just repeating it here. He takes it and puts it away. And then they both started freaking out. They're trying to make shift. They're stumbling over the words. This guy's eyes are like looking at the screen, looking at the camera, looking at the screen, looking at the camera. And, you know, they're wearing harnesses. They're playing with augmented reality CGI objects, right? What do I mean by augmented reality? Here's one where they're talking to the kids. This is real. It's a balloon with helium in it. This is not real. This stuffed animal. Watch again. They beamed it in. They even made a beaming noise, and now she's manipulating it. And what it's called is it's simple technology where you're manipulating CGI objects and they're rendering them in real time. There's tons of videos that show how this is done, and it's almost consumer level software at this point.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I would say about that beaming in one. Let's go back to that student one where they're for the kids.
Yeah,
I would probably say what they're doing here, it could be an edit.
It's not an edit. This was live. This was live to kids. Well, supposedly live to kids in a school. And for some reason, maybe something went wrong and they had to beam it in because it would look too weird blinking in. And
because it almost looks like Star Trek level.
It made the Star Trek beaming noise also. Yeah. So again, they're always screwing around with us. They do all sorts of screw ups all the time, right? This is it's called the ARRR system, and this is what they use sometimes when they're not in swimming pools. Okay, and look, this is a spacewalk, and this is the ARRR system. Same thing.
Wow.
Yeah. And when you look at the nonsense that's going on in the space station, one time they had a guy in a gorilla suit chasing an astronaut around. Meanwhile, there's wires and everything hanging out all over the place. God forbid he hooked on one of those or, got a wound and started bleeding, right? On my channel, DITRH right here, my YouTube channel, DITRH, I have a recent video I put up on the bathroom. Just watch it on the impossible bathroom on the International Space Station. It's absolutely the most disgusting thing that you could ever imagine. And it proves that nobody is in space. Nobody's ever been into space because space isn't what we're told.
You know what? I have a little, because you asked about why they tuck in their shirts.
Yeah.
Maybe if this is for, my theory of it, maybe the reason why they tuck in their shirts is that the wires won't be seen pulling up.
Yes, absolutely. And many times we see their shirt will go bing, it'll a wire will get caught, or sometimes they flip around and their foot gets caught in the shirt in a wire and they have to untangle themselves. And then like this one, watch this one. Oh no, see this guy's wire right here. He went out of control and look, there's pulling the shirt. Now this girl goes out of control and watch this guy quickly pulls a ball out of his. Hey, look at the ball spinning because he realized that it wasn't going well. Right? Let me go back to that. That's one of my fit. Where'd that go? Oh, well, I turned it. It's all right. But he quickly pulls the ball out when she got tangled in her wires. Like, look at the ball, right? Pretty
I'm more
crazy.
just I'm more what like why first off I'm going to talk about this guy real quick. Why does his first instinct to go is look at this ball while this girl is flailing across the screen?
Distraction. It's like, hey, and
I'm more distracted by the girl.
Admiral Byrd said, hey, there's more land beyond Antarctica filled with resources that all the countries in the world could use. And then they said, Antarctic Treaty, nobody can go there. Hey, we're going to the moon. Look over here. Look over here. Distraction. This is more exciting. We're going up to a spinning ball in space. And then they faked 6 moon missions. People got tired of that. And go watch the moon missions. The movie Jaws holds up better than the moon missions.
You know, the moon one I've always found fascinating with that the moon landing was fake. I've always looked at that one because it's weird that we can't do it again.
Well, I used to believe that we faked it. They showed it. What they showed us was fake because we didn't want the Russians to see our real technology. That was the first thing.
Yeah.
Then we didn't go back because there's aliens there, and they told us not to come back. Okay, this is what a lot of people believe, and I'm not saying that I ever believe that, but somebody that I know that might be very close to me right now used to believe that. Okay. I'm not going to say it was me though.
You don't believe in aliens?
Well, let's talk about aliens. Aliens,
Okay.
extraterrestrials. Is there a difference?
I know. I mean,
Sounds like the same thing, right?
Yeah.
But you have to be very careful with words because aliens, a lot of people say aliens are demons and angels and spirits. Okay, I'll go with that. Extraterrestrials, they're more human like. Let's say extraterrestrials are the physical ones, aliens are the ones in other dimensions. Good, that's a good distinction. Either way, it doesn't matter, you still have your extraterrestrials. Okay. Extraterrestrial, break down the word. Extraterrestrial. Extra means more, terrestrial means land. So if somebody came from unknown lands outside of our world, where would they be coming from? Let's quickly look at stars for a second, okay? So stars, we're told that they're trillions and trillions of miles away, light years away. The closest star they tell us is like 4.5 light years, 25 trillion miles. Doesn't sound that far, right?
No.
If you were traveling a mile per second and you went for 1 trillion seconds, how long in time is that? Don't say 1 trillion seconds. How long in I don't know, years is 1 trillion seconds? Guess.
I want to say 5 years.
But very close. 31,000 years. Okay.
Oh, I was so close, man.
You were so close. If you just went a little higher, 31,000 years. Think about that. Just let that sink in. 1 trillion. Nobody's gotten that even close. Don't worry. You were right in the ballpark with everybody else. 31,000 years is 1 trillion seconds. If you're traveling a mile per second for 31,000 years, mile per second, no one's ever gone that fast. In 31,000 years, you're 1/25th of the way to the closest star. And you have to do that 24 more times before you get there. And every other star is so much farther than that one. It's ridiculous. That's our close neighbor. Okay. That sounds crazy. So an alien is going to come from, if he's lucky enough to be at the closest star on a planet, come here and crash in Roswell, or perhaps the world is set up like this. Here we are in our pond. Here's Antarctica, the shoreline that surrounds us, and we're not allowed to go explore there. But what if beyond Antarctica was more oceans, more land, another sun, extra territory? If somebody lived out here and we're here in this inner space and they came to visit us, where did they come from and who are they? They're an extraterrestrial from the outer space.
I hate to interrupt you,
Go. I'm done.
We have 7 minutes left in the Zoom call. Zoom likes to put time limits on
Oh,
this.
that's why I wanted to give you my
See,
Zoom.
hey, this is why
Can
they're listening. They're listening into us.
yeah. All right, so we're gonna make it short, right?
Okay.
So here's the thing. Don't believe anything I say, okay? Don't believe anything I say. I'm just pointing towards a whole bunch of doors that are out there. And this is called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. This app will show you everything, right? I have a challenge: 3 Bitcoins for 1 globe proof. Every day there's a new video. Just tap on this little video window here. Boom, what video comes up? Watch it every day for 2 weeks. At the end of that 2 weeks, if you think the Earth is a globe, send it to me and send me the proof, and you win 3 Bitcoins. But before you do, you have to hit the frequently asked questions button, and all the questions you probably have are here. Like, hey, what about ships over the horizon? What about eclipses? What about the Coriolis effects? If I hit ships over the horizon, up comes a playlist that Google is hiding from you. They won't let you see these videos, but here they all are. Okay. Watch those videos. If you go to the more resources, tons of stuff here, right here, the best documentaries ever. Watch 3 of those. Guaranteed you will be a flat earther for life and everything will change. Why the lie? How much time do we have? How much time?
Got 6 minutes.
Why the lie is because they want you to believe that you're flying through an infinite space vacuum, corkscrewing through the middle of nothing, where you're insignificant in a godless or distant God universe. They want you to feel like you have no power when you actually do have power. They want you to think that you're a random accident when actually you're at the center of creation. They want you to think that your thoughts don't matter and that other people control you, that have control over you, but the only control they have is in your imagination. They don't want you to know that your thoughts create your reality. In school, they tell you that you only use 10% of your brain, and that's the goal of school. They want you not using the part that connects with nature and higher realms and higher spirit and using your pineal gland. They don't want you challenging their authority. And challenging their authority is just unplugging from the matrix. And the matrix is the heliocentric system. It's a prison for your mind. Okay. So my app is called the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. It's the highest rated app at Android and Google. It's $3. Okay. Don't get the app. Just go read the reviews. Okay. Go to the App Store, read the reviews. Okay. Another thing, just on the app, there's a friend finder. You hit that puppy. I'll open the quick map up. And here are the people in the United States that know the Earth is flat right here. Okay. Pretty impressive. These are the people that have the app, and you can tap on these dots and message these people. You can send out group messages to everybody within a certain radius of you. Say, I'm having a meetup on Saturday at Joe's Bar and Grill. You could do all sorts of things. You can pull up people's profiles. Oh, I'm not showing you. I'm not showing you as I'm doing this. I standard. Thanks for telling me. Thanks for telling me.
I do want to ask you. I have a question in here. They want to know, who is the they that you're talking about?
Yeah, so they are the Council of Foreign Relations, United Nations, the Bilderberg Group, the Davos Group. These are the leaders that we see, but they have controllers above them. Okay, here are the people that are just in in the United States, in the UK. There's tons of flat earthers, and again, you can tap on these dots. You can message people. You can send a group message. I have 374 people within 50 kilometers. I send out a meetup. Hey, we're going here. All these people show up. People are using it as a dating app, as a job app, as a friend app. It does truly amazing things, and it will show you how it's all done. And again, if you don't want to wait the each day for a video, just hit the archive button. All of the best videos are there. Tons of stuff. But if you don't want to do that, just go to flatearthdave.com and take what's called the Flat Earth Crash Course. Just scroll down, Crash Course. There's a list of documentaries. Watch the first 3. Then you're going to end up buying the app because you're going to love it. You're going to want all the tools that it has. And that's why it matters. It matters more than you can imagine. And every single person that's a dot on that map is awake, aware, and never bored and never in fear, because there's nothing to be afraid of.
All right.
All right.
Well, Mr. Weiss, I want to thank you for coming on the show today. I feel like I've been educated in a whole new world.
Yeah.
You know, um, the comment section is blowing up right now. They're loving you, and it's a really interesting topic because it's such a very divided topic. You would think it's very not.
Well, you think we've been programmed since birth that it's a globe, and then the word flat earther is synonymous with idiot. And once you understand that that's not the case, that's the psyop. It's all to imprison us, is to make us slaves, to keep us working in their slave corporate system. When you disconnect from it, you free yourself, and everything changes. People say, "Oh, I still have to go to work on Monday." Things change. I don't go to work on Monday. I actually work harder than I've ever worked before, but I do something completely different. The world is an amazing place. Where are you located? What state? Before
Texas.
We're on Texas. Lots of flat earthers in Texas. If you have the app, you just hit that radius button, go to a meetup, bam, you now have a new set of friends, which is great. Because when you become a flat earther, you're going to lose all your old friends until they become flat earthers.
Wow. Well, Mr. Weiss, thank you again for coming on the show today. I want real quick in this last minute and a half, tell the people where they can find you, any social media that you want to plug and everything.
You could, everything is linked at flatearthdave.com, flatearthdave.com. Go there. The crash course is free. The podcast is free. You can download, if you have an Apple Watch, you can download the Flat Earth. I can't really show it on the camera. You can download a cool Flat Earth app, watch face. That's free. All sorts of stuff. The app is $3, and there's a couple of premium features. One is if you want to send messages on the app, it's $11 a year. Don't sign up unless you want to send messages or view profiles or have a profile. That's all. The app is amazing, even without the subscription. But lots of people get the subscription because it brings people together. It's better than any dating site, any job site, any meetup site. It brings everyone like-minded together.
Well, again, thank you, man, for coming on. We gotta have you on again in the future, one more time.
All right.
But again, guys, thank you guys for watching. Again, check out all the flat Earth stuff that he's mentioned, and it's a very interesting topic to learn about. But
if you think it's stupid, ask yourself what's your best globe proof, and when you don't have any, you have to reassess your foregone conclusion.